Family called me loser after I helped them with their debt, and they told me we don't need you anymore. So I cancelled surprise, and showed what they had lost. It all started with a phone call late on a Thursday night. I'd just gotten home from work, and was warming up some leftovers when my phone buzzed. It was my mom. She rarely called unless it was important. I picked it up, and the first thing I heard was her crying. "Jason, we need you. Please, can you come over?" she said through sobs. My stomach sank. I didn't even ask any questions. I just grabbed my jacket and left. When I arrived, the whole family was there: my dad, my siblings, Ashley, 27, Jake, 25, and Emily, 21, and even my grandma, who was hunched over in a chair, looking defeated. The atmosphere in the room was suffocating. My father explained that they were drowning in debt. The credit cards were maxed out, the mortgage was past due, and the bank was threatening foreclosure. Ashley had taken out a loan without telling anyone, and now bill collectors were hounding them. They were about to lose everything, including the house we all grew up in. "We've tried everything," Dad said, his voice breaking. "We don't know what to do." I didn't even think twice. I'd been saving for years for something special. I'll get to that later, but when I saw them like that, I knew what I had to do. Over the next few days, I cashed out a significant portion of my savings and paid off the most important debts. I talked to the bank about renegotiating the terms of her mortgage. I even covered Ashley's secret loan to get the collectors off my back. When it was all said and done, I'd put nearly $50,000 into getting them back on their feet. It hurt, sure, but the relief on their faces made it all worthwhile. They cried and hugged me and said things like, "You're the best, Jason," and "We don't know what we'd do without you." My dad called me the hero of the family. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I was truly appreciated. Little did I know how quickly things were going to change. 1 month later, I decided it was time to surprise them. The thing I'd been saving for all these years wasn't for me, it was for them. I was going to buy them a new car. The old sedan they had was barely running, and with how much they were struggling, I figured something reliable and modern would make their lives a little easier. It wasn't just any car either. It was a fully loaded crossover, something that could comfortably seat everyone when needed. I'd spent years saving and researching to find the perfect vehicle, and I finally bought it. My plan was to drive the car over, park it out of sight, and reveal the surprise after dinner. I was excited, probably more excited than I'd been about anything in a long time. When I walked into their house that evening, the vibe was off. There were no smiles, no warm greetings. My mother barely looked up from the television. Dad mumbled a quick, "Hey," and my siblings were all scattered in different rooms, looking annoyed about something. Even Grandma, who always lit up when I came over, barely acknowledged me. "Everything okay?" I asked, trying to shake off the weirdness. "Yeah, fine," Mom said flatly. It didn't feel fine. Still, I continued. "I thought we could all have dinner together tonight. I have something important I want to share with you." The response was underwhelming. Ashley rolled her eyes, Jake mumbled something about being busy, and Emily didn't even come out of her room. My dad sighed and said, "Fine, but make it quick." I was already regretting coming over, but I tried to stay optimistic. When we finally sat down at the table, I began to explain my plan. Before I could get to the good part, Jake cut me off. "Actually, before you go into whatever this is, can you do me a favor?" he asked. "Sure, what is it?" I replied, thinking maybe he needed help with something important. "Can I borrow your car tomorrow? Mine's acting up again." I hesitated. I needed my car for work the next day, but I didn't want to seem selfish. "I could lend it to you after work if you really need it, but..." Before I could finish, Ashley jumped in. "Wow, so you can bail us out of debt, but you can't even lend Jake your car? Some big hero you are." "Wait, what?" I asked, confused. "Yeah, Jason," Emily chimed in, finally coming out of her room. "It's like you make this big deal about helping, but you're always holding something over our heads." "Guys, I'm not holding anything over anyone's head. I was just trying to find out my mom interrupted. Jason, we've got enough on our plate right now without you making everything about you. If you can't even lend Jake the car, maybe you should just leave. Dad chimed in. We're not asking for your help anymore. We don't need you. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. After all I'd done for them, they were acting like I was a burden. Even Grandma muttered something under her breath about how I was always too full of myself. Shut up! I shouted, slamming my hand down on the table. The room fell silent. What the hell is wrong with you people? I came here to do something nice, something big, and this is how you treat me? They all looked stunned, but I wasn't done. You know what? Fine. You don't need my help? Let me show you what you just lost. I stormed out and they all followed me, confused. When they saw the brand new car parked out front, their jaws dropped. As they stared at the brand new car, their reactions changed from shock to awkward silence. It was a sleek, silver crossover, complete with every feature I could afford: leather seats, a backup camera, everything heated. This, I said, pointing to the car, was supposed to be for you. I worked for years for this. I wanted you to have something reliable. Something nice. But you know what? You don't deserve it. Ashley was the first to speak. Jason, wait. We didn't mean dash. No. I cut her off. You've all made it perfectly clear how you feel about me. I'm just the failure you don't need anymore, right? Dad stepped forward with his hands up as if to explain, but before he could, the front door slammed behind us. We all turned to see Grandma standing there, holding her purse and a suitcase. What are you doing, Grams? I asked, confused. I'm coming with you, she said, her voice firm. Wait, what? Jake said, looking as confused as I was. Grandma walked right past them and put her suitcase in the back of the new car. Then she turned to me. These ungrateful fools can stay here and wallow in their misery. You've always been the only one with a level head, Jason. I'm through with this nonsense. Grandma, you can't just leave, Mom said, looking panicked. Oh, yes, I can, Grandma snapped. You've all been mean to Jason since he got here. After all he's done for us. I'm not sticking around to see you treat him like dirt. I didn't know what to say. This was completely out of line, but a small part of me felt vindicated. Grandma, you don't have to do this, I said quietly. Yes, I do, she replied. Then she turned back to the others. And don't bother calling me until you all learn how to apologize. The family erupted in chaos. Ashley was crying, Jake was yelling, and Mom and Dad were desperately trying to reason with Grandma. But she was done. I'm serious, she said as she climbed into the passenger seat of the new car. Let's go, Jason. I'm tired of this circus. I hesitated for a moment, but then I realized she was right. They needed to face the consequences of their behavior, and maybe losing Grandma for a while would wake them up. Without another word, I got in the driver's seat and started the car. As I drove away, I looked in the rearview mirror and saw my family standing there, stunned. But what I didn't expect was what Grandma said next. You might want to buckle up, honey. I've got a secret to tell you, and it's going to blow your mind. The tension in the car was thick as I drove, but Grandma didn't seem to mind. She stared out the window, her hands resting quietly in her lap. I was still trying to process everything that had just happened when she spoke. I've been waiting for the right time to tell you, she said, breaking the silence. Tell me what? I asked, looking at her. She took a deep breath. I've been saving money, Jason. A lot of it. More than you could ever imagine. I blinked, not sure if I'd heard her right. What do you mean? You always said you lived on a fixed income. That's what I wanted them to think, she said with a grin. I didn't want your parents or anyone else sniffing around for handouts. But the truth is, your grandfather left me quite a bit of money when he died. I've been adding to it ever since. My grip on the wheel tightened. Why are you telling me this now? Because I'm tired of watching them take advantage of you. You've worked hard, Jason. Harder than any of them, and they don't appreciate it. I want to make sure the person who deserves it gets what I've saved. I didn't know what to say. Part of me was flattered, but the other part was confused and, frankly, a little suspicious. How much are we talking about? Close to 6 figures, she said casually, like it was no big deal. I almost veered off the road. 6 figures? Are you serious? Dead serious, she replied. And I want you to have it. But there's a catch. I raised an eyebrow. What kind of catch? You can't tell the others. Not a word. If they find out, they'll be all over you like vultures. You saw how they behaved tonight. Do you really think they deserve a single penny of it? I had to admit that she had a point. Still, it all felt surreal. What am I supposed to do with the money? I asked. Whatever you want, she said. Invest it, use it to start a business, buy yourself something nice for a change. I don't care. Just promise me you won't waste it on them. I nodded slowly. Okay, but what if they find out? They'll lose their minds if they think you've been hiding this from them. She smiled mischievously. Let them. I've been hiding this for decades and I'm not going to stop now. I pulled into a diner parking lot and parked the car. I needed a moment to take it all in. Grandma didn't seem upset. She just leaned back in her seat, looking more relaxed than I'd seen her in years. You've always been my favorite, Jason, she said. You have a good heart, and you've earned it. Don't let them make you feel guilty. I looked at her, still trying to make sense of it all. I don't know what to say, Grandma. Say yes, she said simply. I agreed, though I still felt like I was in some kind of fever dream. Grandmother handed me a small, tattered notebook from her purse. It was filled with handwritten notes, account numbers, and contact information for investments I'd never even heard of. This is everything, she said. You'll have to set up a meeting with the lawyer handling my estate to officially transfer it, but the money is yours now. Why didn't you tell me this before? I asked, flipping through the pages. Because you weren't ready, she said matter-of-factly. I've been watching you, Jason. You've spent your whole life helping people, even when they didn't deserve it. But tonight you finally stood up for yourself. That's when I knew. I didn't know whether to be proud or overwhelmed. I sat there in silence, staring at the notebook while Grandma sipped the coffee I'd ordered for her. But as the days went by, I realized that keeping this secret wasn't going to be easy. My family had started calling and texting me nonstop after Grandma left with me. First, they demanded to know where she was and when she was coming back. Then the tone changed, accusations flew that I was manipulating her, that I was trying to steal her away to control her money. She doesn't even have any money, I snapped during a heated phone call with Ashley. Well, you act like she does, Ashley shot back. They didn't stop. Every day it was something new, messages about how I'd broken up the family, guilt trips about how Grandma was all they had left, even veiled threats to get the law involved. One night I sat down with Grandma and showed her my phone. They're relentless, I said. She looked at the texts, completely unfazed. Let them scream, she said. They'll get tired eventually. You just worry about yourself. But things didn't calm down. Instead, they escalated. One afternoon, while Grandma and I were out running errands, I got a call from Jake. Against my better judgment, I answered it. You need to bring Grandma back right away, he said, his tone sharp. She's not a lost puppy, Jake. She left on her own, I replied. Well, you're going to regret this. You think you can just take her and make decisions for everyone? We'll see about that. What does that mean? I asked, but he hung up. When we got back to the house, we found out exactly what he meant. In the driveway were Ashley's car, Jake's truck, and my parents' sedan. They were all inside waiting for us. As soon as we walked in, they pounced. This has gone far enough, Dad said. We're taking Grandma home. She's not going anywhere, I said firmly. We'll see about that, Mom said, pulling out a piece of paper. This is a power of attorney form. Grandma is not in her right mind to make decisions like this. We're taking control. I turned to Grandma, expecting her to be shaken, but she laughed, a full, hearty laugh that echoed through the room. You think I don't know what you're up to? she said, stepping forward. I've been dealing with your nonsense for decades. Let me tell you something. I had my lawyer draw up my will years ago, and everything I have goes to Jason. So you can take that paper and shove it. The room exploded into chaos. My siblings started screaming, my parents looked embarrassed, and even Grandma raised her voice to drown them out. But then Ashley said something that stopped everyone in their tracks. If you don't give us what we deserve, I'm going to tell Jason the truth about his perfect little childhood. Her words hung in the air like a bomb waiting to go off. I looked at Ashley, my heart pounding. What are you talking about? Don't, Dad said, his voice deep and warning. Ashley crossed her arms and glared at him. Why not? He deserves to know. You've kept it from him long enough. Ashley, Mom said, stepping forward, her tone pleading. Don't do this. No, Ashley shot back. I'm done covering for her. Covering for what? I demanded. My patience was wearing thin. Whatever it was, I needed to know. Ashley locked eyes with me, her expression full of something I couldn't quite place, anger, maybe, but also guilt. Jason, you're not Dad's son. The words hit me like a sledgehammer. What? I whispered, my voice barely audible. Mom started to cry, and Dad glared at Ashley like he wanted to strangle her. Jake and Emily looked stunned, like they had just found out for the first time. Grandma, however, looked unconcerned. I said you're not Dad's biological son. Ashley repeated. Mom had an affair before you were born. Dad found out, but they decided to stay together and raise you as his. That's enough. Dad roared, pounding his fist on the table. No, that's not enough. I snapped, my voice rising. Is that true? Mom couldn't look at me, but Dad finally nodded. Yes, he said through clenched teeth. It's true. But it doesn't change anything. I raised you. You're my son. I stumbled backwards, trying to process the avalanche of emotions that were crashing down on me. My whole identity felt like it was unraveling. How could you not tell me? I asked, looking at my mother. She wiped her eyes and finally met my gaze. We didn't want to hurt you. You were so young, and as you got older, it just didn't seem necessary. You were ours, Jason. You still are. I looked at Grandma, who was eerily calm. You knew? Of course I knew, she said. And I told them they were idiots for keeping it from you. But your mother insisted, and your father, well, he went along for her sake. Dad threw up his hands. You don't understand, Jason. We did it because we loved you. You're my son in every way that matters. I shook my head and stepped away from the chaos. No. You did it because it was easier for you. You didn't want to deal with the consequences. Jason dash. Mom started, but I cut her off. No. I don't want to hear it right now. I turned to Ashley, who was staring at the floor. Why would you bring that up? Now of all times? She looked up and there was regret in her eyes. Because they're using you, Jason. They've always used you. You've sacrificed so much for this family, but they've never treated you the same. And now they're trying to take even more. Her words stung, because deep down I knew she was right. Grandma got up and walked over to me. She placed a hand on my shoulder. You don't owe them anything, Jason. Not after what they've done. I nodded slowly, still shaken, but grateful for her support. As I walked out of the house, Grandma following behind me, Dad called after me. Jason, wait. Don't do this. Don't let this tear us apart. I turned around, my voice calm but firm. You already did when you lied to me. With that, I walked out, leaving them to deal with the mess they had made. But a fire was building in my chest. I wasn't just walking away from the lies, they were going to see exactly what they had lost. A few weeks passed without a word from my family. Only Graham stayed with me, and I tried to focus on moving on, even though the betrayal still stung. Then, out of the blue, a letter arrived in my mailbox. It was in Dad's handwriting. Jason, there's something you need to know. Come to the house on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Bring Grandma. Dad. I hesitated but decided to go. When Sunday came, Grandma and I drove to the house. The driveway was empty, the windows dark. We knocked. No answer. We waited for over an hour. Still nothing. Grandma sighed. Maybe it's for the best, she said quietly. I nodded, but something about it felt wrong. I don't know if they ever intended to tell me the truth or if I'll ever hear from them again.